Good day everyone, I am Kianjin Giliarawan and today we're going to talk about the 21st century skills category. 21st century skills are 12 abilities that today's students need to succeed in their careers during the information age. So as you can see, these are the 12 21st century skills, which are divided into 3 categories. While all 12 of those skills are necessary to teach, the 4 C's are often considered to be the most important. The 4 C's of the 21st century skills are critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Critical thinking is a term used by educators to describe forms of learnings, thoughts, and analysis that go beyond the memorization and recall of information and facts. It refers to a form of mental discipline in which a person can conceptualize, analyze, and reflect upon various input and other information and then apply it in a constructive fashion. Critical thinking occurs when students are analyzing, evaluating, interpreting, or synthesizing information and applying creative thought to form an argument, solve a problem, or reach a conclusion. So there are 3 critical thinking skills that students need to develop. Critical thinking also includes translating physical experiences into meaningful thoughts and reflections, able to convert concepts and thoughts into words, being able to read more deeply into information that may seem trivial or meaningless on the surface. So as you can see, there are 4 values of critical thinking for young people that can be summarized in academics, in everyday life, in our careers, and in other important skill sets. Critical thinking skills help you to identify credible sources, evaluate and respond to arguments, assess alternative viewpoints, and test hypotheses against relevant criteria. So the following are the step-by-step approach to critical thinking. First is format the question, gather the information, apply the information, then consider the implications, and lastly, explore other points of view. In format the question, if the question is geared more towards the use of that information or knowledge, then the question may be more of a why-type question. For example, why do some commentators claim that a diet high in processed sugars is the greatest threat facing public health? As they gather information in relation to their question, reference to their initial question will help them to determine the relevance of the information in front of them. They can weigh up whether or not the information is helpful in moving them further towards answering their initial research question. In applying the information, they must look at what assumptions exist and explore whether their interpretation of the issue is a logically sound one. To do this effectively, they will also need to consider the effects of that decision. Number 4 is consider the implications. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. As the old proverb suggests, our well-intended decisions can sometimes lead to unforeseen negative consequences. Lastly is explore other points of view. Exploring alternative viewpoints helps us to evaluate our own choices and to avoid stagnating in our own biases and innate preferences. Doing this helps us to make the most informed decisions possible. So to sum it up, critical thinking from the word itself is a focus, careful analysis of something to better understand it, ability to effectively analyze information and form a judgment. Students need to be able to think critically to make rational decisions on what to believe or what course of action to take. The second type of learning skills is creativity. Creativity is the practice of thinking outside the box. It empowers students to see concepts in a different light, which leads to innovation, the ability to produce new, diverse, and unique ideas. This 21st century skill allows students to embrace their inner strengths from big picture planning to meticulous organization. Just like with critical thinking, that makes creativity contagious. The point of creativity is to encourage students to think differently than convention demands. Below are the skills that students must learn to build effective creativity skills. Creativity is equally important as a means of adaptation. This skill empowers students to see concepts in a different light, which leads to innovation.
Next is of 21st century skills is collaboration. Collaboration means working with others respectfully and effectively to create, use, and share knowledge, solutions, and innovations. Collaboration means getting students to work together, achieve compromises, and get the best possible results from solving a problem. Collaboration may be the most difficult concept in the four C's of 21st century skills, but once it's mastered, it can bring companies back from the brink of bankruptcy. The key element of collaboration is willingness. All participants have to be willing to sacrifice parts of their own ideas and adapt others to get results for the company. That means understanding the idea of a greater good, which in this case tends to be company wide success. Collaborative learning is the educational approach of using groups to enhance learning through working together. Groups of two or more learners work together to solve problems, complete tasks, or learn new concepts. This approach actively engages learners to process and synthesize information and concepts, rather than using rote memorization of facts and figures. For example, learners work with each other on projects where they must collaborate as a group to understand the concept being presented to them. Through defending their positions, reframing ideas, listening to other viewpoints, and articulating their points, learners will gain a more complete understanding as a group than they could as individuals. Collaborative learning develops self management and leadership skills. When individuals are tasked with working together to achieve a common goal, they are being given the opportunity to develop high level skills. While having to organize, assign, and teach, they are learning how to manage both themselves and others while leading in a productive fashion. Lastly, communication. Communication is talking to others, communicating effectively in a wide variety of forms and contexts for a wide range of purposes and using multiple media and technologies. Communication is the glue that brings all of these educational qualities together. Communication is a requirement for any company to maintain profitability. It's crucial for students to learn how to effectively convey ideas among different personality types. That has potential to eliminate confusion in a workplace, which makes your student valuable parts of their teams, departments, and companies. Effective communication is also one of the most underrated soft skills in the United States. For many, it's viewed as a given, and some companies may even take good communication for granted. But when employees communicate poorly, whole projects fall apart. No one can clearly see the objectives they want to achieve. No one can take responsibility because nobody's claimed it. Without understanding proper communication, students in the 21st century will lack of pivotal skill to progress their careers. 21st century skills also require students to understand the information that surrounds them. So those are the four C's of 21st century skills. First is critical thinking, second, creativity, third, collaboration, and lastly, communication.